Well, yet again, RT has come under the spotlight. The Broadcasting Board of Governors Chairman Walter Isaacson has said that his organization needs more money to combat the efforts of America's quote-unquote enemies. Those scary enemies include Iran's Press TV, Venezuela's Telesur, and of course, RT made the list too. The Broadcasting Board of Governors oversees the budget that funds groups like Voice of America, Radio Free Europe, and Radio Free Asia. So what exactly are they so afraid of? Well, earlier I spoke to blogger and filmmaker Danny Schechter.
Clearly, when you appeal for money from the Congress, fear is the tool that you often use. You know, the danger, the threat, you know, the idea that somehow these other channels are going to, you know, outcompete us in the world. When, you know, he doesn't even acknowledge the fact that American broadcasting is mostly a commercial system that has a wide global footprint that goes to every corner of the globe, including Hollywood movies and the like. No nation really can compete with that. They don't have the money or the marketing and the distribution. So he focuses on government broadcasting. But, you know, comments like that about enemies is the very way of ensuring that nobody's going to want to watch what you do if you put it in what sounds like a Cold War context. In a sense, he's trying to have it all ways. He's trying to be patriotically correct for the Congress. He's trying to be journalistically correct for his colleagues. And the two are not really merging here. And it's really surprising because Walter Isaacson was the head of CNN, Time Magazine, the Aspen Institute. He's a very thoughtful person. But for him to get into the gutter here and really basically go after other outlets, assuming that because a government gives money for it, it's therefore government propaganda, that isn't really true in my experience of RT, Press TV, or even Telesur for that matter. So this is a way to sort of basically tarnish your competitors and label them unfairly. And that's what he's done here. He's trying to take it back, but he looks kind of foolish in doing so.
Yeah, Danny, it's so interesting to me. I mean, I want to get your opinion more on what is so scary to him about these channels like Telesur, like RT, like Press TV. He went on to talk so much about combating censorship and, you know, freedom of speech and offering different perspectives to people, yet it seems a little bit contradictory.
Well, especially when the internet in America is being threatened with a kill switch by the president, with censorship by the corporations that, you know, the big telecommunications companies that are willing to censor the internet, you know, at a moment's notice and are opposing the idea of, you know, a free internet. But he's not fighting that in America. He's only fighting it in China or somewhere else where he can demonize another country. It's totally hypocritical. And it's completely false when you look at what's really going on in the global media marketplace. The United States media has been dominant. They just don't want any competition. Let me ask you, why can't Al Jazeera, which is on the air around the world, get on the air in America? Is it because their product isn't good, because it's propaganda? No. But because the commercial marketplace, manipulated by government forces and politicians, refuse to allow it access to an American market. They are afraid of other voices and other points of view. That's why in American media often, you know, I worked for CNN, so I know this up close and personal. They don't want that diversity that these other channels represent. And that's shocking if you believe in free media and free speech and free press.
Yeah, one of my favorite things he said was that he wants to be credible and tell the truth. And in the end, the truth is on quote-unquote our side, referring to his side. But he also went on to say that these groups that his organization funds, like Voice of America and Radio Free Europe, strive to be a part of America's public diplomacy by accurately conveying its policies and values to the world. He also said that they have the highest journalistic standards and that 90% of the time American foreign policy standards overlap with credible journalism, and 10% of the time they might conflict. Isn't that kind of hypocritical then, to accuse these other channels of not being credible if essentially his organization is trying to promote American foreign policy?
Well, there were a lot of controversies about the Voice of America and its coverage of the war in Iraq, war in Afghanistan, the elections in Iran. There were a number of scandals there. So, it's already compromised deeply. But, there's a deeper problem of being personally compromised. Edward R. Murrow was one of the great American journalists of all time. When he got pushed out of CBS, he went to work at President Kennedy's request for the Voice of America. And one of the first things he did on the Voice of America was censor one of his own documentaries, Harvest of Shame, which was a film about poverty and migrant workers in America. And he did that, as a government bureaucrat. And I think when you get into that world of government, and having money from Congress and trying to please the president and please everybody else, your values tend to get compromised. And I hope that Walter Isaacson will be aware of this danger and will resist it, because he's somebody I respect, but this comment of his is preposterous, unfortunately.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Voice of America looks like under his leadership. That's Danny Schechter, blogger and filmmaker from our New York studios.